I have some important new poll numbers to share with you, and I think that this tells an important story on how the Bernie campaign should move forward. Now, we just got a round of positive polls. So what you're about to see, this is from a CNN poll. In this CNN poll is also Bernie leading by 3 points nationally over Joe Biden. Now, Biden is still up in the average of polls nationally, but this is a brand new CNN poll which shows Bernie leading by 3 points nationally. There was another poll that just came out today that showed Bernie opening a wide, big lead in New Hampshire. Iowa's still up in the air, but, you know, polls usually show Bernie in first place or second place. I think Biden still has a little... No, Biden has slipped in... What am I saying? Biden has slipped massively in Iowa. But still, it's up in the air in terms of, is it Bernie's? Now, in order for Bernie to win this election, he needs to come out the gate strong, because Super Tuesday, Biden has a giant advantage in a lot of these states, man. I mean, that's what the polls show right now. He's still leading by wide margins in many of the Super Tuesday states. So Bernie has to win. In my opinion, I think Bernie needs to win 3 of the first 4 states in order to really be in a comfortable position. 3 of 4 I'll take. 4 of 4 would be awesome. But he does need to come out the gate strong, because these first states are sort of demographically and otherwise, these are states that Bernie should be strong in. And so if he doesn't perform well in the early states, then it's time to hit the panic button. Because again, Super Tuesday, Biden has giant leads in many of the states. Now, don't rest on any of this stuff, man. You got to fight. You got to work. If you're texting for him, text for him. If you're making phone calls for him, make phone calls for him. If you're standing on a freaking soapbox on a street corner screaming stuff, go stand on your soapbox on the street corner and scream stuff. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do to try to get this dude elected. Pedal to the metal. I always go back to, one of my favorite stories is about Tiger Woods, and how he always said, if I'm leading by 1, I want to be leading by 3. If I'm leading by 3, I want to be leading by 5. If I'm leading by 5, I want to be leading by 10. If I'm leading by 10, I want to be leading by 20. If I'm leading by 20, I want to be leading by 30. In other words, I don't just want to beat you. I want to pummel you into the ground. I want to obliterate you. That's the mindset that we have to have on this campaign. To win. You have to have that. And the other thing is, shout out to everybody on NBA on TNT, run through the tape. You got to run through the tape, man. You got to run through the tape. You get all systems go, pedal to the metal the entire time. It's not over till it's over, all right? But anyway, I digress. I'm kind of off in the weeds here a little bit. Here is the new CNN poll, which gives us some direction in terms of strategy moving forward. So they got into some interesting specifics here, okay? Let's go through this. Just for now, just focus on Bernie and Biden, because as of right now, they're really the only two who are in the race. So ignore everybody below. Ignore Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Bloomberg, so on and so forth, okay? The first thing, has the best chance to beat Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. Bernie Sanders, 24%. Joe Biden, 45%. That's interesting. Next, agrees with you on the issues that matter most to you. Bernie, 30%. Biden, 20%. Has the best chance of uniting the country. Bernie, 22%. Biden, 39%. Has the best chance of uniting the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders, 16%. Joe Biden, 41%. Okay. This is all so important, guys. This is so important, because here's the deal. We won on the thing that we have been fighting on. What does that mean? That means the Bernie campaign, me, you, everybody's been out here trying to make the argument since day one. Listen, it's not even close. Bernie Sanders is the person who agrees with you on the issues. Vote for him. You got to... He agrees with you on the issues. Where's the question? Where's the question? Well, guess what? We won on that front. He's beating Biden by 10 points on that front. Wave the flag. He won that one. Where is Bernie struggling? In all the other categories they just laid out there. So, I'm sorry. He's also leading in best understands the problems you face, which again, kind of works hand in hand with agrees with you on the issues. Those are very similar things. It's like saying, well, yeah, he sees the world through my eyes. He understands the problems because he's always talking about those same problems that I experience. So that's where, so people get it about Bernie. They get it. Like, okay, he's the dude who actually agrees with me. He's the dude who actually can see the world through my eyes. He's the guy who would like fix my problems. Where he struggles, has the best chance to beat Donald Trump. That's what this poll shows. 24% Bernie, 45% Biden. Guys, we got to start making the electability argument. Because that's a giant lead for Joe Biden. And listen, if Bernie loses this race, I think it'll be two reasons. One, he wasn't aggressive enough against the establishment. That's what I think is a major flaw in his campaign. And the other thing is, people will have thought, even though I prefer Bernie, I got to go with the more electable choice because we have to beat Donald Trump. And the more electable choice is Joe Biden. So if he loses, that is why he loses right there. So you got to go out there and start making the argument that Bernie Sanders is more electable than Joe Biden. And there's a number of ways to do it, man. But fact of the matter is, Joe Biden, apart from barely being coherent anymore, he's not as strong as Bernie in the exact places where you need to be strong in order to win the election. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Joe Biden supported a lot of these outsourcing deals, NAFTA, and Bernie Sanders fought these outsourcing deals. Bernie Sanders does phenomenally well in the Rust Belt. Now, you could critique our system till the cows come home, and I would agree with you, but the way our system works, an area that absolutely has to be won for somebody to become president is the Rust Belt. It's the Rust Belt. So Bernie Sanders does well in the exact area in the country where we need a Democrat to do well. The states that decide the election are the states where Bernie Sanders is the strongest. That is the definition of electable. You know what else? Who chips away more at Trump voters? Who gets more independents? Bernie and Bernie. He gets those disaffected Republicans. He gets those Trump voters on his side, those former Trump voters, 2 times Obama voters who flipped to Trump. He gets them on his side. Again, definition of electable. Brings new people into the political process. Definition of electable. So those are the arguments we have to be making now. Because they actually get it on the policy. Like, yeah, Bernie, 100%. Medicare for all, free college, living wage, sees the world the way I see it. It would help my life and fix my problems. They get it. But they're still like, I don't know. What do you mean? Why are you like, I don't know? Because they think we got to beat Trump, and I think Biden is the best suited to beat Trump. Why do you think that? I'll tell you why you think that. Because of the media. They never made a case, by the way. They don't have to. If you repeat something enough, people go, I don't know, I guess that's true. And that's what they did. Joe Biden's the most electable. 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 Why? Based on what? You know he ran for president multiple times before, and every single time he got his clock cleaned? He's got nothing to show for it. Dickie McGee's axe. That's how well he did in the previous elections that he ran in. So you're talking, this guy's the most electable? Based on what? Based on what? Based on nothing. Based on the media has been repeating it over and over, so people have started to believe it, even though it's not true. Guys, that's the argument we have to make. Now, of course, the other things, has the best chance of uniting the country? I mean, there's an argument to be made that the very fact that Bernie holds the base and gets crossover Trump voters, that unites the country more. It unites the country more when you have a president who's willing to represent your interests and push for the policies you want. That represents the country more and the policies Bernie's pushing for, even many Republicans like him. There was one poll that 51% of Republicans wanted Medicare for all. So who's going to unite the country? Bernie's going to unite the country. Guys, he's most similar to FDR, who was so damn popular, he got elected 4 times and died in office, and the Republicans said, oh my God, we need to do term limits because we'll never win again if all the Democrats who run are like FDR. That's how much Bernie can unite the country. And uniting the Democratic Party, that's even easier. Because people say, oh, Biden can unite the Democratic Party. Really? Nobody on the left who I talk to and I know, and I'm in these left-wing circles, nobody's excited about Biden. Nobody wants Biden to be the nominee in the circles I run in. So he's going to get all these people who despise him based on his record. All of a sudden they're going to love him? No, it's not going to happen. Bernie unites the Democratic Party, particularly because he represents the interests of the voter. Now, don't get me wrong. The establishment goons, yeah, we're not going to unite with them, but they've been trying to destroy the party from the beginning. They've been trying to keep the Democratic Party a corporate neoliberal party, a sellout party, a corrupt party. There's no unifying with them. We don't need to unify with them. They're a paper tiger. There's like 13 of those people in Washington, D.C. and New York. That's it. The actual voters agree with Bernie, and that's how we're going to unite the Democratic Party. So we need to make these arguments now because people get it about many of the things Bernie has been talking about. But they're hesitant on has the best chance to beat Trump. They're not convinced of that. And my guess is they've never heard the argument as to why, of course, Bernie's the best suited to beat Trump. And we need to make the argument he'll unite the country and unite the Democratic Party because that's what people are hesitant on. That's what they're hesitant on. So, listen, he needs to do well in the first states, and also we need to have massive turnout. That's how Bernie wins. Bernie wins with giant voter turnout. Because we can make all these polls irrelevant. You do know that, right? We can make all the polls irrelevant. If turnout is like double what the pollsters were predicting, then we win in a landslide. So, let's make that happen, man. Let's make that happen. Bring all those new voters into the process, all the young voters into the process, all the people who were turned off to politics and said, I'm never going to vote again, and then they see this guy who's really going to represent them. This is how we win, and we need to keep fighting. And there's good news and bad news in this poll, but at least we have direction on how to move forward.